Fox News Sunday anchor Chris Wallace joins us now live. And Chris, so much to talk about here. You know, Speaker Pelosi is really known for getting her caucus to ultimately fall in line. But on the Senate side of things, it looks like the moderate and liberal factions of the party are really dug in. I want to play some sound from Senators Sanders and Manchin.
It's going to be $3.5 trillion. That's the compromise that's already been made. We need to do more on affordable housing. We need to do more. The truth is $3.5 trillion is not enough.
Are you a hard no?
On the 3.5?
Yes.
So the president is having meetings with Manchin and Sinema to try to get them to come on board. Does that say anything about his faith in Chuck Schumer to hold on to his legacy, or is this about the margins?
No, I think that the president of the same party, has to get involved in trying to negotiate it. It's his agenda. It's his idea. So I don't see any sign that that's an undercutting of Chuck Schumer. This is going to be hard, though. And you know, there are sizable differences on the size of the plan, the structure of the tax increases, what the spending should be. There was just a big fuss in the House this week about an idea of allowing Medicare to negotiate and lower drug prices, and that would mean not just for Medicare recipients, but everybody. Big Pharma fought against that, and at least 3 Democrats voted against it. It's still in the bill, but they can only afford to lose three votes. The best thing that I think the Democrats have going for them is if they don't pass something. Doesn't have to be $3.5 trillion. Doesn't have to have every specific thing in it that's now in it. But if they don't pass something sizable, it'll be a huge defeat for President Biden and for Democrats. And, you know, it just seems to me that when they've already got all these other issues, if they can't pass their agenda to then try to ask Democratic voters in next year's midterms to put them back in power, I think that's going to be a big ask.
So on that front, Chris, the president's horrible summer seems to be continuing. The mayor of Del Rio, Texas, Bruno Lozano, has just declared a state of emergency because of all those Haitian migrants that are flooding into Texas. And now from Lucas Tomlinson, apparently General McKenzie, the head of CENTCOM, is going to announce that no ISIS-K fighters were killed in that drone strike that killed 10 civilians. And if you take a look at the president's poll numbers, and we'll put them up on the screen here, from a new Quinnipiac poll, he is underwater on everything. That does not bode well for a year November.
No, I agree. Of course, it's a long time till next November, but there's no question if Joe Biden is at 70% approval ratings, it's a lot easier for him to ask Democrats both on the left wing of the party and the center of the party to make a tough vote on this $3.5 trillion tax and spending bill than it is if he's at 43%. Much easier for Democrats when the president is underwater to say, hey, look, you know, you got your problems. I got my own problems getting reelected. I'll worry about 2022. So his approval rating now has a dramatic impact on his ability to pass his agenda this fall, even though nobody's coming up for re-election for another year.
Chris, House Republicans are threatening to bail on the hard infrastructure piece if it's linked to the social spending package. And of course, Democrats don't need Republicans to pass it. They can do it along party lines. But what does it say about the president's commitment to bipartisanship if this can't get done?
Well, you know, I don't know that it says anything about that because he did get a lot. I think it was 18 Republican votes in the Senate. If the Republicans in the House decide to bail on the same exact bill, I think it says more about them than it does about him. But interestingly enough, Steny Hoyer, the House Majority Leader, says that they're going to keep to their promise. Now, things can change, but they're going to keep to the promise they made to moderate Democrats to bring this up on September 27th, the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. If they do that, then it is not going to be linked to the big spending bill, and therefore House Republicans wouldn't have that excuse to bail on it.
So, Chris, when you and I spoke earlier today, you're still trying to lock in a guest from the administration for Fox News Sunday. How are we doing on that front, and who's on the show this weekend?
Well, I can report that in the last few hours, John, things have gone much better.
Good.
We're going to be talking on COVID, and, you know, you're going to be reporting in the next hour or so on what happens with the FDA. We're going to have the head, the director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Francis Collins. There's no question, whatever the advisory panel does, they're not going to have approved the booster because the full FDA and the CDC are going to have to approve it first. So one of the big questions obviously, is when the president back in August said September 20th, some people can get their booster shot. Were they listening to the science or to the politics? And we're also going to be talking to the chairman of the House Budget Committee, John Yarmuth, about all these issues on the debt limit and government spending, and then, of course, this $3.5 trillion tax and spend bill.
All right. Well, we will see you Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon here on the Fox News channel for Fox News Sunday. Chris, thank you.
Thank you, guys.